Hello, person listening to this. Yeah, that makes me sound like an alien. I still have a lot of work to do in the opening, how I'm going to open these things. I don't want to sound artificial. I have the same problem with leaving messages in answering machines. Or not answering machines. They're not answering machines now, they're bits of software on people's mobile phones. I still call them answering machines. What do you call them? Answering services? I don't know. But I feel bad about leaving a message on those things, 'cause no matter what I say, it sounds awful. I've had people complain. People thought I was threatening them because, I don't know, either the tone of what I was saying or I was just shouting when I should have been not shouting. I have an answering thing on my own phone that you have to activate. You have to say, obviously people are leaving me messages because I keep getting things saying you must activate your phone server so you won't be able to hear this message that someone just left you. So I haven't activated it. And I've had this phone for at least 4 years. It's a stupid phone. They call it a smartphone, but it's not that smart, man. I've had it for about 4 years. I bought it for my wife, but she didn't want it, so now it's my phone. Yay! Some people have a rule, no screens in the bedroom. I'd like a rule, no screens in my life. But I'm staring at one now because I record on the computer. So if you've left a message for me anytime in the last 4 years, now you know why I didn't get back to you. Although there are probably like a bunch of other reasons why I didn't get back to you, but that's the one is I haven't activated the sound box, the voice holder technology system. Now you know. This podcast, the intention is that it's going to be about being married and my marriage and marriage in general. And this time I'm not going to pretend that I have a script like I did the last 2 times. I'm going to just say outright that there is no script and whatever I say is just off the top of my head. And if it sounds like I'm reading it, that's because I'm autistic. Right? Got it? Right. Now. Here's a question. What's the longest amount of intentional silence you can have in a podcast before people get worried, before people get concerned? How about this? "10 seconds? Yeah, about that. Before people start saying, wait a minute, maybe he's gone off, maybe he's... We'd go for longer? We'd try longer? No, we won't. Because that joke is funny once, and after that you're just burning people's lifetimes second by second, and they will not appreciate it. Okay? We're all time travelers. We're all moving 1 second at a time into the future. But I'd like to justify it if you're going to spend them with me. If you're going to spend them with me. So I'm going to talk about being married. Now the challenge here, of course, is we have to toe the line, don't we? We have to toe a delicate line. I don't want to spend the whole time complaining about, oh, it's terrible, because it's not true. And if I do complain about that, it's going to sound like I actually think that, so I don't want to do that. I also don't want to turn it into everything is amazing speech, because although that is true, it's not interesting or funny. I'm trying to entertain people. There's no point in, nobody wants to hear everything's going great. You know, that's not interesting. Here is the news. 2 cars passed each other without incident in Meath today. You know, a doctor did an operation. It was all right. Yeah, guy's recovering, in the ward. Details at 11. That's not news. That's not cool. Something has to go wrong. Something has to deviate from the norm to be interesting. Otherwise it's boring. I'm trying to be interesting and funny, so I'm not going to do that either. Yeah, we get along like. Me and my wife. We get along very well. Who cares? Big deal, right? I can make jokes about conflict, but we don't really... I mean, we have a bit, but not much. Oh, what an adorable couple. Relationship goals. Yeah, I know. I know we're adorable. I get that. I understand. But it's not interesting. Certainly not as a one-man podcast, you know? I mean, I'm on my own. Oh. I should really have had her on this. I should have had Andrea with me. Shouldn't I? That would make so much more sense. Because it's about marriage. That would make so much more sense. Yeah, but she's not. She's not here. Instead, she will be here as a ghost. The ghost of my wife. And the ghost will be voiced by me. The part of my wife in this following hour's entertainment will be played by me. So the trick is, I'm going to try and talk about marriage, my marriage maybe in particular, just marriage in general, whatever I know about that. Nothing. I only know about my own marriage. I'm going to talk about that without complaining about my wife all the time and avoiding mushy stuff. So, wish me luck with what will no doubt be a nonsense podcast. So this one is going to be a bit different because I haven't got a script. I'm just talking off the top of my head. And I'm going to talk about being married, and I'm not going to complain, and I'm not going to be all, oh, everything's great. So yeah, challenge accepted. Yeah. I have set the bar incredibly high, and already I'm regretting it because there's no way for me to communicate. I'll just have to say, I mean, every time I finish one of these podcasts, and by that I've finished 2 of them. So that's both. Right? The word every, when there's only 2 of something, is both. Okay. So every time I finish one of these podcasts, I always think of something I could have put in. Oh wow, I've been a lot more racist than that. Or I've done something that's old. Like I notice recently I've noticed there's a lot of white hair in my on my chin. Not on my head, but on my chin, and I found one on my chest. Hang on. Yeah, I must have pulled it out. It's not there. It's not there now. I must have pulled it out in an act of frustration. But I was thinking maybe I should dye it, and then I'm thinking, no, fuck it. I am going to, whatever Jesus gives me, that's what I'm going to deal with. Anyway, I think if you're going to dye your hair, it should be a different colour. You know? I mean, call me traditional, or call me untraditional. I don't know. That's just me. I don't, for the life of me, I don't get, like, women get all excited about dyeing their hair. They say, oh, I'm going to dye my hair next week. And then they go and do the thing, or they go to the place and they come back with the hair exactly the same, except slightly different. They're like, hey, do you like my hair? It's the same. No, it's not. Wait until the light hits it. There's a tinge of red. Yeah, well, you know what else has a tinge of red? My field of vision. The mist descends. If you're going to dye your hair, make it a different colour, alright? So if you're dark, go light. If you're light, go dark. Or go neon blue. I have a lot of respect for any chick. That's going to get me into trouble. And I'm not going to edit that out. If you're a female person, or a male person, I've seen guys with neon blue hair and green and pink. Why not? Like, no one's going to say, oh wow, you must have blue hair naturally. Just go dye your hair properly. Go crazy, man. What's the worst thing can happen? What's the worst that can happen if you dye your hair neon, bright, anime blue or pink? The worst that can happen is some freak with no imagination will point at you from across the street and be all like, will you look at your one with the blue hair? Where does she think she's going with that hair? You know, and getting that kind of reaction from that kind of person is a win. You know, when boring bastards kind of castigate you, that's good. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that reaction from boring normal people. You're looking for, holy shit, man, what the hell have you done? Like, thank you very much. I know I'm on the right track. Right? Yeah. Anyone whose opinion is worth a damn is going to think it's cool. Or, even better, not give a damn. Not care at all. They barely notice. Oh, look, Timmy's hair is green today. Back to whatever we were doing. I saw a guy with pink hair once, and it actually looked fantastic. Just because it's completely different. And I was going to go up to him and say, dude, your hair looks fantastic. But then I thought he might think I was hitting on him. Which I guess it kind of is a bit. So, I didn't. Also, sometimes girls look better without makeup. Oh, hell no! Oh, no, you didn't! Yes, I did. I just said that girls look better with... Not all the time. Sometimes girls look better without makeup. You can't say that, of course, because a bunch of very concerned women will crowd around you and shout abuse in a very compassionate fashion designed to lead me towards a conclusion. That's the best way, by the way, to get someone on your side. Just shout abuse at them. Right? Just to let you know. You're an idiot. Oh, you're such a cockhead. Agree with my opinion now, because I've called you names. That'll get you on side. They don't talk like that. I'm trying to do a voice that's different from my own. But no matter how awful I make it sound, it just sounds like me. I sound awful. Conclusions. Yeah. Sometimes women look better without makeup. Oh, lordy. You're a man. You don't get to have that opinion. Oh, yes I do. That's what opinions are. They say things like, "Oh, you're just saying that to demean women, or you want to control women, or you don't accept women who want to wear makeup to make themselves feel better, or you're erasing their experiences, or whatever." It's basically a lot of, "Well, what you really meant to say was blah blah blah," which is weak and vicious somehow at the same time. What you really meant to say was blah blah blah. Imagine if men did that to women. "No, I don't want to have sex with you." "Well, what you really meant to say was," yeah. Get it now? You see the problem? Yeah. So if a guy says you look better without makeup, just take that on board, yeah? And if you don't like it, you're allowed to think he's wrong, by the way. You're allowed to think he's talking through his ass. And just think, well, that's just like his opinion, man. I look fantastic with makeup. He's wrong. But it doesn't mean anything. He's not a bad person because he has an opinion that you can't lock your phasers onto. It's fine. Live your life, man. Be happy. Do whatever you want. I can't stand people telling me, "Oh, if you have this opinion, this means you're a bad person because X, Y, Z." I'll decide if I'm a bad person, not you. Holy shit. I've come across people who said that if you don't find a trans person attractive, that it's homophobic. Like a man who's, well, not a man, like a woman who used to be a man, whatever you, yeah, right, whatever. They're called trans people when they switch sexes, and they want you to treat them like they're the other sex, which is fine. That's their own business. It's nothing to do with me. But I mean, that if you're dating someone who looks like a woman and is presenting as a woman, and you discover that she's like not, or she used to be a man, or she was born a man, or whatever way you want to phrase that, and then you're not interested in her anymore, then you're homophobic or you're just a horrible person. That's ludicrous. Well, I know this much because I go on 4chan. So I know that there are people who intentionally track down trans people because they find them particularly attractive. And I'm pretty sure that these same people have no problem with that orientation. So if the LGBT, etc. movement has taught us anything, is that punishing people for their orientation is a shitty, shitty thing to do. And maybe people, consent, given, are entitled to be with whoever they want, for any reason they like. We're pretending it's all about personalities, man. And pretending it's like what kind of a person you are, like morally. That's disgusting, man. It's a total abnegation. Abnegation? What's that word? Abnegation. It's a total abnegation. I like that word. Of the concept of orientation. Like you either accept people have orientations or you don't. I know lots of guys who are really cool and I like them a lot. And there's no way I'm going to have sex with them. Their personality is not the problem. It's just not my orientation. You hear that sometimes from bisexual people or pansexuals who will literally fuck anything. They say things like, "Oh, I don't see gender. For me it's about personalities. I'm attracted to personalities." No, you're not. You have an orientation that allows you that privilege. That's not the same thing. It's not like you made a decision about it. I can't suddenly decide that a guy with a great personality is now sexually attractive to me. Because I'm not oriented like that. So how about we all respect each other's orientation, yeah? How about that? No more cis scum stuff, yeah? Why don't you just date anyone you want for any reason you like, and so will I. And if something happens during your relationship with someone that makes you want to end the relationship, then you go and do that, and I'll do the same. I'm even okay with, girls who... if you're a guy and you're a millionaire, and some girl's attracted to you, and let's face it, occasionally you will come across a girl who's attracted to you because you have loads of money. That's just something that happens, and it's okay. And you don't have any money... I think it's okay for her to get upset. It doesn't make her shallow or a gold digger. Or if it does, then, fine. Don't be judging people. If she wants to get with a rich guy, let her do her thing, man. That's her own business. I'm not going to judge you because you want a guy who's got a load of money and you want a life of just flying around buying shoes. That's your own business, man. Good for you. You do whatever you have to do. To survive in this stupid flippin' world. No judgment. In the same way, if a woman I'm dating turns out to have what can only be described as a penis, no, I'm done. And that doesn't make me a bad person. You can say it does if you want, but that opinion will be incorrect. Oh man. Did you ever hear this thing? Ask for pronouns. Man, I spend way too much time on Tumblr. You get this thing people telling you what pronouns to use. So if they don't identify as a male, they don't want you to go calling them him. They want you to call them her or it. Or I've seen someone, by the way, ask to be described as it. So don't complain about that. That's something I've seen. Or them or their or something. Ask for pronouns. And they're saying, oh, if you don't know what pronouns to use, ask for pronouns. Can you think of anything more abusive and degrading to someone to ask for pronouns? Like, this isn't a trans thing. I mean, trans people do it sometimes. But anybody LGBT plus Q plus whatever. And straight people do it too, because, I don't know, I guess they want to get onto the bus, is it? I don't know. Man, there's better buses to be on than the pronoun bus. I don't have any problem with these people, but I have a problem with anyone who refuses to talk to me or who wants to set the parameters of a discussion before I've said anything. That to me is abusive. You know? I have to ask them in advance. Can you imagine? Can you imagine in the real world asking anyone what pronouns I should use? Or what pronouns you should use before you're allowed to talk to them? You get your head kicked in. And rightly so. I mean, maybe there should be some way we can ask someone whether or not we should ask for pronouns. But even that's insulting. If you're a girl and someone comes up to you and said, what pronouns should I use? They're basically telling you look a bit like a guy. And if you're a guy and someone comes up and they're telling you that you look a bit like a girl. Right? Now, I wouldn't give a damn. But this isn't about me. I wouldn't give a damn if somebody thought I looked a bit like a girl. That's fine. But I'm not entitled to tell somebody else to not be upset by that. That's not my job. And I'm sure there are lots of people who would be upset by that. I don't know why I should be put in a situation where I feel like I have to do that to someone else. To put that on somebody else. Just because I decided I want to be politically correct. How about I use any pronouns I like, and you use any pronouns you like, and everyone shuts up about it, yeah? Because telling me what words I can and can't use is not going to work. It's going to make me ignore anything you have to say, because you're clearly way too controlling and maybe mildly insane. Don't set the parameters of the conversation before I've said anything. Right? Have some respect. Ask for pronouns. Ask my arse. How about that? I mean, don't ask my arse. So yeah, I got married. That got away from me. I promise I will talk about love and marriage. But not maybe in a little while, like in a few seconds. Imagine you have a kid, and the kid doesn't like cabbage, because sometimes kids don't like cabbage. And you've made a cabbage dinner, and now the kid doesn't like it. And you're like, how could you not like this dinner? I spent so long making this dinner. No point in saying that to the kid, is there? Because it's irrelevant. All he knows is he doesn't like it. But cabbage is good for you. That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. None of that matters. You knew the kid didn't like cabbage. That's something you knew. That is a piece of information you had. You can't tell people how to feel about things. Right? You can't expect everybody to be amazed by what you're doing. Just because you think it's great. It's unreasonable to whine about this kid not liking cabbage. Not liking that cabbage dinner you made when you knew before you went into it that he does not like cabbage. Anyway, that's how I feel about women who don't shave their legs or whatever. I forget exactly when this happened, but I made a decision that I should get married to my wife at some point. It was probably early 2014 or late, like in December 2013. I didn't bother asking. Asking's for losers. Although I did ask, I've been married before. I was married to a different person from California. And I asked her in a hotel room like a boss. And she immediately rang her mother, who lived in Los Angeles. And the hotel was in Clonmel. And her mother asked if I was going to ask her dad for permission. And I said, I am in my hole going to ask anyone for permission. We're both grown-ups. Permission. So I suppose what should have been the first step in a war with the in-laws wasn't, because actually they're all really nice people. All her family is lovely. She's lovely too. Just marriage wasn't a good idea. So this time I wasn't taking any chances. Yeah? Ask me no questions, and I will tell you no refusals. So this time, she was down in the back room and I was in this room, and I just changed my Facebook status to engaged, and plugged in her name, and she must have clicked OK instead of cancel, because it was up on the Facebook machine. And that's how we got married. That's how that happened. And before this, she was reading on the, I don't know, a few days beforehand maybe, she was on the bed reading a book and I was on the computer doing my computer stuff. And just out of the blue, she said, oh, she said, this is lovely. I know this is just a nice moment, don't worry. She said, Barry, you're the love of my life. That's what she said. And I did say at the start, I'm not going to get into mushy details, so don't worry, bear with me, this gets not mushy fast. She said, Barry, you're the love of my life. Which is a nice thing to say to someone. And it kind of shocked me, you know, because I'm not used to people saying nice things to me. So I'm not sure how to handle it. So my brain was scrambling for a response. And the first thing I could think of was, well, if I'm the love of your life, you know, you're fucked. There's something wrong somewhere. Because if I respond positively, then we're going to do something about it, and that's your life gone on this Egypt, me. So I'm going to say you're fucked, basically. And that's what I meant to say, which is bad enough. The thing I meant to say was bad enough. But what I actually said, something went wrong in my brain, and what I actually said was fuck you. Which is just a very slight physical distance away from you're fucked, but a world apart semantically. So she was just sitting on the bed and she said, Barry, you're the love of my life, reading a book. And I said, fuck you. And she just went back to reading her book. That's my non-mushy story of how we share our feelings. Did you know, in America, 50% of all marriages don't end in divorce? That's a frightening statistic. If you're an American, there's a 50% chance like that's it. If you're married. No takesy backsies, as they say. No do-overs. I told Andrea I had a crazy dream. I have dreams sometimes. So I said I had a crazy dream last night. And she said, was I in it? And I said no. And she said, then I don't care. Which is, I think, completely reasonable. I think that's a completely reasonable approach. I started talking to Andrea. The first time I started talking to her, I was just typing words in a computer because I was living in America and she was living in Ireland. And I didn't bother with the video thing because I didn't care. So I had no idea what she looked like. I didn't know she was like this hot looking thing. I just knew she was a person I liked. And I asked her to send me, not photos, but I wanted to hear what she sounded like. So she sent me audio clip over the tippity-tappity computer. Hang on. I can't think of the words. We think we were using MSN, right? Back when people used MSN to communicate. We used to type messages across to each other like that. Like texting for kids. MSN was like texting, but it was on the side of your computer. And so she sent me an audio file, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but I'm going to try and... I still have it, because I'm a soft touch. That's the one thing people know about me. I'm sentimental, and I'm a soft touch. Right? Everybody who knows me, it's the first thing they'd say about me. Barry's just this kind, gentle person. Sorry, it's total bullshit. I'm such an asshole. But I hung on to these. I found them somewhere. I don't know where. And I'll see if it comes across, well and good. If it doesn't come across the speaker into the microphone, I don't care. It's been a waste of my time. You're just going to hear a silence where there should be something which I consider to be amusing. So here we go. This is hang on. This is what she sent me.
Manager to the checkout, please. Manager to the checkout. Manager to the checkout, please. Manager to the checkout.
That's what she sent me. I played it a few times because I'm not sure if it went through. She didn't actually send me the repeat. I repeated it just there. So that's what she sent me, and that was peculiar. And if you haven't heard it, if it didn't come across, I have no idea because I just put the microphone to the speaker if it came across or not. But I'm going to pretend like it did. Right? If it didn't, this whole thing's a waste, and I don't care. That's how we're rolling. And this next bit is dependent on that last bit, as you will see. That's odd. That was an odd thing to send somebody as a sound file. You could have just said anything. So I said, so I said to her, "Can you send something else?" And she sent this, like just a few minutes afterwards.
Clean up on aisle 4. Clean up on aisle 4, please. Clean up on aisle 4.
So that's the kind of person. That's the kind of person my wife is. Not quite what I was looking for, but that's all right. No, not the wife. I mean the sound files. Obviously, the wife is fine. Ooh, whoops. We have been trying to have a baby, which is not as easy as you might think. I thought it would be. I was led to believe that it was such a simple operation that it could often happen by accident, and that would be a crisis scenario. That would be a disaster, right? But it turns out it's difficult enough in certain situations. Andrea once asked me, this is again before we got married, she said, like, what would you do if I got pregnant? And I said, no problem. I said, we'd have a weekend away in London. Done and done. And she said, that is such an asshole response. And I said, why? I said, I'd pay for half of it. I'm a gentleman. 50% of all marriages do not end in divorce. Keep that in the back of your mind the whole time. Let me tell you a story about a man called Tom Collender. Now, sometime in the 1500s, Tom had an idea. It's a special type of pot. And Tom took this idea to his wife, and his wife said, Tom, what have you done? It's a pot. Tom, this is not a pot. This is a pot with holes in it. This is no good. This is the worst idea anybody has ever had. I don't know. I think maybe people could maybe have some uses. Tom, you're forever. This is typical Tom Collender. I have to explain you to my friends. This is ridiculous. I mean, do you remember that other thing? The flute that doesn't make a noise. Do you remember that? Well, I thought that would be... Yeah, you thought. And now you're giving me this pot with a hole in it. This is ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, but I thought maybe, like, if people... There's a way in which... There's a way in which you're an idiot, Tom. Come on, man. This is ludicrous. It's a pot with holes, and look at all the holes in it. Anything I put into it is just going to fall out the bottom. Did you think this through at all? I did. And I did the specs up for it. And oh, this should be good. Specs for a pot with holes in it. Yeah? Is there holes in the sheets of paper as well? No. It's just a drawing. I just drew in holes. And Tom, I swear to God, you need to get a job, Tom. This is not good. You can't stay at home. I have a job. I work down at Mill. What? I work down at Mill. I don't know why he's suddenly from Yorkshire. Invented pot with holes in. Sorry. Anyway, that's the idea I had of marriage. Maybe it's difficult, you see, to see things from somebody else's point of view when all you have to go on is your own point of view. You know? But you have to make an effort. You have to make yourself vulnerable. You have to be open to the idea that, like, maybe somebody else having another point of view isn't just something to be tolerated, but it might actually be a good thing, and you might work something out. You know? Like, I never had any problem in relationships. I never had any problem, I suppose, liking people and getting along with people and so on. Like I'm a very open person. I don't know. People sometimes say, "Oh, you're mysterious," and I say, "What the hell? I'm the most open person in the world. I have literally no secrets whatsoever. I Everything that happens to me is online somewhere. Like I could never have a stalker because I'm so open that no stalking strategies will be of any use. I don't have any secrets, and I'm absolutely awful at lying. And if I like you, I'm just going to tell you at some point. I'm just going to openly say I like you. Like that's, John a bag. That would be my open and line. And if I don't like you, well, I'm not going to tell you, but I'll do my best to make sure we just don't, intersect at any point. And of course, some people don't like me. They respond badly to me, which is fair enough. Well, that doesn't change how I feel about them. I think it'd be very weak. I think it would be weak if how I felt about you depended on how you felt about me. So I've never had any problem liking people, but I always had a problem with people liking me. I have no idea what to do with that information. So it turns out that it turns out, I suppose, that a lot of being in a relationship with somebody is, for both people, is someone's willing to give you the benefit of the doubt in things you say and not assume the worst about you and support you in all the stupid things you want to do. Which is alright, because people aren't good or bad. There's no point in pretending they are. You could say there's, I suppose if you want to ebony and ivory it, you could say there's good and bad in everyone. We try to live and we try to give each other what we. Which is that Paul McCartney or is that Stevie Wonder? Why did I go Michael Jackson on that? Oh, I know, because Paul McCartney did a thing with Michael Jackson around the same time called "The Girl Is Mine." Yeah. Ebony and ivory, and together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why can't we? That's not Paul McCartney, but that's as close as we're getting. There's good and bad in everyone if you like, but that's not helpful as a piece of information. But I like to think people are just people, And sometimes they do bad things and sometimes they do good things. But I don't think there's good or bad people. I don't think you can describe somebody as a bad person, like unless you're just being flippant about it. Like this is a bad person. That doesn't make any sense. He's just a guy who's done a load of bad stuff, Or not even bad stuff. He's made many poor decisions that he could have changed. That's really it. Know thyself. Know thee Sauton. That's it. That's about as mushy as it's getting, guys. The last thing, last bit at the end of this is just me more whining about women. Don't take any of this seriously, by the way. It's just me trying to be funny, like. Anyway, more whining about women after this. I promised more whining about women, and I'm a man of my word. Women say things like, "I don't want anything for Valentine's Day," and then get upset if you believe them. Not my wife. Well, if my wife said that, she'd mean it, which is great. She's figured out how to communicate with me. Just say things directly out. This is what I don't like about what you just did, and here's what you can do about it. Thank you. That's all. Communication successful. Beep, beep, beep. So when we talk about Valentine's Day, commemoration for a tortured saint. Duh. That's my wife's take on it, and I think should probably be everyone's take on it. But don't say you don't want anything for Valentine's Day if in fact you do. That is a lie. And we have a word for people who lie. It's called liar. Just be straight, Say what you mean. Say what you want. It's not romantic unless the idea comes from him. Well, then find a different guy, because it's not working out with this one. You're looking for Mystic Pete. The guy who leaves his telephone cards at medieval-themed fairs and I guess political hustings and maybe wherever they leave those circus leaflets. There'll be a little card there with Mystic Pete, He claims he can talk to the dead, must be an interesting hobby. But from your point of view, the most interesting thing is he says he can read minds. So that's what you want, isn't it? So either track down Mystic Pete or shut the fuck up about it when your guy, the guy you're with, cannot read your mind. Those are your two options. Right? Track down Mystic Pete or shut up. You know what else? And I've heard women and seen women do this thing. I mean, maybe guys do it too, and I just can't see it, or just don't care enough. Women say things like, I'm looking for a guy who makes me laugh, or I'm looking for a guy who's nice to me, and so on, you know? Total bullshit. And you can tell how much bullshit it is by looking at your last relationship. Let's say your last 3 relationships, right? I don't care what you think you're looking for. I have a list of what you actually look for in a guy. And what you look for in a guy is he has to be a humorless asshat who treats you like shit and slept with your best friend at her wedding. Right? You didn't know that he did that, but now you know, right? Sorry, you have to hear it from me. Saws, not saws. So that's what you look for in a guy, yeah? So you need to look at that massive chasm, the Grand Canyon between what you, let's say sincerely, think you look for in a guy and what you actually look for in a guy. Alright? Now that's not the guy's problem. That's your problem. Like, look at all the shitty relationships you've had that you're complaining to with all your friends, and what's the common denominator? Yeah? Here's the deal. If you keep having the same problem over and over again, the problem is you. Not whatever you think the problem is, it's you, yeah? Like, if you meet say you meet a total asshole today, right? Then you've met an asshole, well done. But if your days seem populated with assholes 24/7, asshole after asshole, you're the asshole. That's the problem there, right? Everyone else is fine, you're the problem in that situation, right? And in fairness, this one is not gender specific. Asshole is gender neutral, right? Anybody can be an asshole, but I suppose you're more likely to hear about it from a woman. That was sexist. Yep. Don't care. Said it anyway. That's it. That is it. It's a short one this week. If you have any questions, put them in the thing down below. Put the thumbs up, the like thing. Click on the thumbs up if you like it, and tell your friends. And as ever, if you don't like it, please tell everybody you know and what was wrong with it and why you didn't like it. It's very important that if you don't like this, if you have a very negative reaction to this, you need to tell everybody you know about it. Put it up on your Facebook and say, my God, look what this guy's done. I can't believe he said that thing about women. Let's gather around and make sure he understands just how equality women are, or whatever the thing is, right? But if you like it, tell your friends. Like it and subscribe to my channel, this channel. Subscribe because it costs you nothing and it makes me think that I'm not completely wasting my time. Even if I am, I mean obviously I am. I'm not getting paid for this, so this is a waste of time regardless. But if you subscribe to the channel, I will allow myself to entertain briefly the idea that I'm not wasting my time. So thanks. Just subscribe. If you subscribe, just do it. It's traditional anyway at the end of these things to ask people to... At least I'm not putting up a little graphic getting in the way of whatever that says subscribe. Because those things are intrusive. I do not like those at all. Stepping on the punchlines. Yeah, if you have any questions, ask me. If you have any observations, write it down. If you hate it, tell everybody. The next time, my plan is to be talking about... That's a bit Indian, isn't it? Next time I will be talking. Next time I'm going to talk about... That was racist, yep. How being a weird person... I'm very strange. How being a weird person has done me no favors whatsoever in my life. How it just keeps getting in my way. And then after that, I have no idea what I'm going to do, because I only have these 4 planned. Everything else will be just me talking about the events of the week. Or whatever you want me to talk about. I've already got one request for postmodernism, and I swear to God I'm working on that. It's very difficult, but I like difficult things. So, that's it. Have a nice whatever. I will talk to you next week. And I am